Welcome to the Moving to LA podcast, an idiot's guide made by people who have no idea what they're doing. I am your host, Jessica Sprague, along with my gorgeous husband, Andrew. How are you?
Wonderful. Can't wait to get started, get talking about all kinds of cool stuff that we did as we're sitting here quarantined like everybody else in the world. Or if you're not, God help you.
Exactly. Like I said, we're going to have to just pull off from our memories and past experiences because that's all we get right now. But some fun news that we want to talk about before we get officially started. Andrew and I started a YouTube channel called Sprague Comedy. So we launched this a few days ago with a video that we made because, like probably all of you, we watched The Tiger King until like 3 a.m. We literally couldn't stop. We had to watch the entire thing.
Right. I was talking to my friend Craig, and we were supposed to do a writing session, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, I was up so late last night watching Tiger King until like 4 o'clock in the morning." And I was like, I no joke, literally was doing the same thing at the same time. Yeah. And so we both had the excuse of, sorry, Tiger King.
Yeah, like, oh, you understand.
Right. And we both did.
So, because we watched that and we were intrigued by it, we decided to write and film a sketch and release it to the world.
If you haven't seen Tiger King, which it probably isn't likely that you haven't, don't listen to this podcast. Stop what you're doing right now and go watch that. You'll be infinitely more informed of pop culture over the next 3 months, right? Because so much of it is going to come from that show.
But yeah, so we made a video called The Dog King because, of course, we don't have a tiger, we have a dog. So we did a parody of it, just kind of made it seem like we had multiple dogs, even though we only have one dog. I was the Carol Baskins part, and you were the Joe Exotic part, but obviously we had different names. But yeah, it's up on our YouTube channel. Please, go and subscribe and like our video. And...
Oh no, we're YouTubers now. You gotta say it like, smash that subscribe button.
Ring
that bell.
Hey guys, smash that subscribe button. Give me a few clicks. Tell me what you think in the comments, and then I'll tell you to fuck off, because I don't care.
Nice, nailed it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's called Sprague Comedy. So please go to that channel, subscribe, like it, share our video. On Facebook, we have like 20,000 views already. YouTube, we have a few hundred, but, people are seeing it on Facebook. It's pretty cool to watch that happen. But yeah, follow us on Facebook as well, Instagram and Twitter, all at Sprague Comedy, because it wasn't taken.
We'll
That's
have links
nice.
in the
But besides that, so we're gonna just be continuing to make videos in our quarantine studios, which is a studio apartment. So we're doing the best we can. But just to update with everything that we just promised to give you updates on every week. We promised you, and we can't give up.
I made a promise, Mr. Frodo.
We're the Samwise in this situation.
The real hero of the story.
That's true. That is very true. So
that and Gimli.
Except they weren't heroes by staying home like us. And also with the coronavirus, just nothing else has happened in terms of restrictions. It's the same thing. Just stay home. Don't go anywhere, or we'll arrest you. The other update we do have with the coronavirus is that we did get an email from UCB saying that they were going to push our classes to June. So we don't know if that's going to for sure be a thing, obviously, but hopefully we can start our classes in June. Okay, so now it's time for LA tips. Each of us are going to just give a little tip that we have found useful living here. Go ahead, Andrew, and you say your tip.
Okay, my quick tip for this episode is for people who are moving here. There's a lot of negativity around receiving benefits from the state or from the government, and I just want to assuage all people's worries about, getting those things. So definitely if you move here to California and you're not in a position where you have a great job and you're starting off, completely on the right foot and you need help, The state of California has great benefits programs. Obviously, that's why we pay so much in state and federal taxes. I guess I should say just state taxes here in California are so high is because there are so many benefits. So I would say quick tip, just Google CalFresh, and there are so many programs that you can try to sign up for based on, how much money you make. But specifically EBT or food stamps and, emergency assistance, all of those kinds of things. California does a really good job working with people who are in need. And so because, with the whole coronavirus, and we got jobs, but we have to wait to start them. So we were able to sign up for EBT or food stamps, and California approved it. It was a pretty easy process, just straightforward, and they, sent us the card and all that stuff. And so people shouldn't be worried about asking for help, especially in these times. I know a lot of people worry, welfare, and it's like, the corporations are the real welfare problem.
Well,
right?
And you pay taxes. The government should owe you some sort of help.
Right.
All the
It's
time.
very, very minimal, right? We're talking a few $100s a year. But just quick tip, as soon as you move here, why not apply? I was able to get medical insurance through the state because I used to have it through my job, but obviously we moved, and so you can get free medical insurance, and dental is covered in there as well, and food stamps, like I said. So something to look into, and you shouldn't be ashamed of doing that. It's something that we should all be worried about going into the future, and those social safety nets should be expanded and not, minimized.
Right, exactly. My tip is a little bit, it kind of narrows down our audience a little bit, but it is something that's kind of, cool that I found. So if you're a female, identifying female, non-binary person, you can go onto this website called WHOHAHA.com. So that's WHOHAHA.com. It's like a female-driven comedy-specific website ran by a bunch of people, but most notably Elizabeth Banks. And it's all about kind of being able to spotlight women comedians, and, kind of you're able to put up your profile in your social media so people can find you with all the, descriptions of what you are, what your specialties are. You can put your work up there. I have some YouTube videos.
Is it just for
done.
entertainment or all kinds of stuff?
I believe it's mostly for entertainment. The nice thing is that they kind of have a job board
Right.
kind of thing where you can post I have a podcast. If you want to be a guest, just, message me, and I'll, I was able to message a woman who was, talked about her podcast, and she wanted a couple to come on and talk about sex. I think it was a sex trivia podcast type thing, and so
Sex trivia?
yes.
Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Something like that. So I was like, hey, my husband and I know something about sex. And
These genitals can be used in the act of
yeah, I'm not really I'm not really sure, but she did contact me back and was like, hey, yeah, and obviously this was before everything happened, so as of right now, who knows when we'll be able to...
Hey, we need sex trivia now more than ever.
It's true, we really do. But it was cool to just be that's an easy way to connect with people. I mean, it's not just in LA. You can also be in New York and be doing this really anywhere. But obviously, if you're trying to get connections, it's probably best to be in LA or New York or Chicago or somewhere like that. But it's just a really cool place to kind of look for jobs, post jobs, and, promote your stuff. Cool. and make connections. So check that out. So we just wanted to talk about, we didn't really talk in depth, because the thing about this podcast is yes, it is very specific to our experiences as comedians and people trying to be in the film industry.
That's the thing about this podcast.
That's the thing. But no, I want it to be informational, but also entertaining, which is why we talk about things that interest us as well. But we talked about getting our licenses the first episode very briefly, and I decided, I'm you know what, we should talk a little more in depth about it, because that is a big part of moving here, and we want to make sure that you guys are prepared, because the DMV is awful. You don't want to waste any time. You want to be prepared. So essentially, If you want a real ID, which is basically just you get a license with golden bear on it, and that makes it so when you go to the airport, you are able to board a plane. I think these changes go into effect October of this year. If you don't have that ID by that time, you do have to have a passport. So if you don't have a passport, definitely get a real ID. The difference is with a real ID, you need 2 proofs of residency. With a normal ID, you just need 1. So just make sure that you are prepared for that. We made the mistake of bringing the wrong stuff. I brought the first page of the lease, which I thought was fine, but they told me that I needed the last page of the lease with the sign, with our signatures on it. And I also brought what I thought was okay from the USPS. It was an email from them saying that we changed our address, but they wouldn't accept it. They said that, no, you need to have whatever's mailed to you, not whatever's emailed to you. But even then, it didn't work because it said Sprague family, and you have to have your name on it. So if you change your address and you're with multiple people of the same name, definitely, if you want to use that, just change your address separately, not as a family. The other thing is that when I brought the lease, she said it has to be printed out, because I was going to show her the signage thing. She's like, no, you have to print it out. So
the whole thing?
Well, just the last page. We printed out the whole thing when we went back the next day, because we did have to go back the next day, and Tuesday was even worse than Monday, just FYI. But so this time we brought that, and we brought the renter's insurance, and that was good enough for proof of residency. If you know you have to take a test, which we had to because we were out of state, grab one of the books in line while you're waiting in line and brush up on that, because you definitely want to make sure that you pass that test, because then you would have to go through a lot of shit again. With the test, you can miss 3 questions. I missed 3 and was fine. There was a lady next to me who missed 4 and had to retake it.
Oh no, what did she say?
Well, when I just heard her go, "What? How did I fail? I only missed 4."
She was on question
and this was
4.
in the middle of my test, and I had missed 2 at that point.
So that
I was like,
made your anxiety go through the roof.
Yeah, so I was like, oh god, no.
Oh, you only had 1 more you could miss when you heard this?
Yeah.
Oh no.
So I was just, and I did miss 1 more, and I was like, oh my god, no. Anyway, so just know.
It tells you right after it's not at the end of the test. So
yeah, it tells you when you're wrong immediately.
Right?
So it's not like you're in the dark the whole time. Like, you'll know. And I do think it, stops you once you miss more than you're supposed to.
Right. Well, at least we didn't find out if it did.
Right. So we both passed, luckily. But yeah, definitely grab one of those books while you're going in line.
Yeah, you'll
and
think
brush
it would
up.
be easy, but they're just random questions that it's like, when turning on a road closure at a 45-degree angle, what is the speed you should maintain? And it's like, follow speed of traffic. This mountain. It's like, nope, it's actually follow the speed of traffic. What? Like, I thought this was all about being official, but it's not, apparently.
Right. Exactly. So just essentially the main things you need to know, like I said, make sure you have the right identification, the right proof of residency, and then also just brush up on California driving laws, because that definitely is something that you don't want to have to keep coming back to the DMV. I think they will let you retake it 3 times, but when that lady failed, they were like, oh, the DMV is so busy right now that we have to have you come back in like a few hours. Right. Like, you can't just take it again. So it's a shit show. So we got our identification within like a couple weeks in the mail, and it definitely is a cool thing to like get the card and be like, oh cool, like my name's on a California identification card. The other thing is, I don't think it's like absolutely necessary to do right when you get here. We just did it because we're like, we have time, and you might as well just rip the Band-Aid off. Like, we have people who have lived here for years, and we're like, we still have a Utah identification. Right. A lot of people were surprised that we
There actually is laws, so especially with your car registering, driver's license is a little bit different because you don't technically have to drive a car if you have a driver's license. So if you're not using it to drive, I don't think it's a problem. But you have 10 days from officially moving here to get your car changed. I mean, obviously there's probably leeway with that, but you can be pulled over if you have an out-of-state like tag on your car and get pulled over by a cop and you tell them, oh, I just moved here. And they go, oh, when? You say, oh, 2 months ago. They're going to give you a ticket. So change it ASAP. Just rip the Band-Aid off. That's kind of why we recommend saving a bunch of money before you come up here, because there are hidden costs and things that you don't think about other than just getting your apartment or your house that factor into it. And obviously getting your driver's license and registering your car is, one of them. And it took about 4 hours to go through the DMV. Yeah. We went on a particular probably busy day and busy time. However, I can't imagine you getting in and out of there in any less than...
No, it's an all-day thing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, definitely bring things to keep you occupied because you're going to be waiting
your
for
headphones,
a while, most likely.
Have your phone, right, exactly.
Yeah, with all that said, we do have references on our website at www.movingtolapodcast.com. It'll be under the references page if you want to learn more. But definitely, that's an important thing. And if there are things that we're not talking about that are like important and informational to you, definitely let us know. We want to try to still keep this as informational as possible for anyone. So
how can I get a meeting with J.J. Abrams?
Well, I've had like 5, but
they did not go well.
No.
He did not like that reboot of the Star Trek 4 that he...
Right. Okay, so each week we review an LA restaurant and experiences in a segment we like to call Review Some Stews and Do's. I hate that name, but you know what? We're going to keep it. So the restaurant we tried was a place we went to on my birthday. It's called Division 3. It's on Hollywood Boulevard, and it was kind of like, we just kind of happened upon it. We weren't necessarily planning on going to this place. We were going to go to a different place, and it was closed or something. Mm-hmm. My birthday was on a Sunday, so... I mean, I assumed it would be fine, but...
I assume they were spending their time with their family worshiping L. Ron Hubbard or
something like
in
that.
Hollywood.
Yeah, something like that. We just kind of were walking around, and we happened upon this place, and it drew our attention because there was a picture of a dog looking like a detective on it.
Yeah, and we'll post all of these pictures on the website, so you can just click the link and get there, but go on.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, let's give this a shot. So we went in, and it was like this cute little coffee shop type place, but it's a place that, serves breakfast and lunch and all that stuff. And the food that they have is very, like, it sounded really good. Like, almost everything looked just amazing. But we were there for breakfast, so we got some coffee. I got this, like, really good hazelnut brew that tasted great. And what I got was the Jersey French toast in a cup, which is essentially
the
like...
Jersey French toast.
Yeah, like whatever that means.
Hey,
Jersey's so known for their French toast. But it was like a croissant French toast rather than like the typical bread.
Yeah.
It was croissants with like vanilla bean, cinnamon, and maple syrup on it. And it was really good. It was just like, like exactly what it sounds like. Is like croissant French toast in a cup. And you just ate it with a fork, and it was really good. And then Andrew, you got the coffee braised brisket grilled cheese, which is exactly what it sounds. Braised brisket with coffee, and then it has tomatoes, onions, pickled onions, which is amazing. We love pickled stuff. Swiss and Dijon mayonnaise. So I tried some of it. It was pretty good. What did you think about it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was so interesting because I've been really loving the flavor of coffee, much more so than just drinking it. I like coffee flavored ice cream. I like coffee flavor, all that kind of stuff.
Espresso beans, chocolate covered
right.
Beans.
So I've never had coffee flavored meat. So I said, well, all right, what the hell?
Right.
It was an interesting thing to try. And that's a big part of living in LA now is almost every corner shop that you go to kind of does their own thing their way, and so these little boutiques all over the place, they're unlike any other that's around. So
right. And it was cool inside because there were all kinds of just posh-looking dog pictures. Like we said, we'll post them on our website, but also on our social media as well eventually after this is posted.
And they all were usually smoking pipes.
Yeah.
I think that was one thing that was kind of prominent in every photo, was that these dogs had these pipes.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was a mix between like paintings and like actual pictures that like from 1906 or whatever, of like these owners just thinking it was funny to like take a picture of their dog with a pipe in its mouth. So it was really cool. And then also we asked why that's the thing, because it's like Division 3, it's not like Dog Detective Cafe. So we were like, why is this all about like dog detective looking dogs? And they were like, oh, the owner's dog, who is a dog on the logo, he like was a hero. Like he helped, I think maybe it was a burglary stop. I don't know. He stopped something. It was some sort of hero, and
some
they
kind
like
of detective work.
Yeah, and they like recognized him as like like a hero,
right? Like the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah, like
He's
and
like
it was a real thing.
Dog,
like
right?
their dog is a hero dog, and they just made this cafe.
We're gonna build it around that,
right? Okay. And I loved it. I was like, this is amazing. So definitely check it out. We really recommend it. We want to try other things because, like I said, the very unique food that all just sounds really, really good. So definitely check that out. So what we did in LA is we went to the Ellen show. This was at the beginning of March. This was an interesting experience. This is something I've been wanting to do for forever. I've always watched the Ellen show.
Even before Ellen had a show.
Yeah, I was like, I just want... So what I did to get tickets was I just went to ellentickets.com, and they essentially just have a calendar that lists all the shooting dates, and a lot of them will say fully booked, but as you go down, you might be lucky and it will say request a ticket. So I just did the earliest one that was on there. That was March 5th. And this was maybe second week that we moved here, so mid-February that I requested these. So within a week, I got an email from the show.
From Ellen.
From Ellen herself. From the show saying, hey, you got some standby tickets. So we didn't get, like, guaranteed tickets, which is definitely what you want to have, because you'll probably get better seats and you'll get in there quicker. But we got standby tickets, so we weren't sure if we were going to get in or not. Luckily, we did. All you have to do is just once you get there, you have to wait in the line. You have to get there early, so you can get a better place in line. So if you really, 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 really want to make sure that you get in and it's going to be a really busy day, like say it's like the 12 days of giveaways or something, you definitely need to get there really early. We got there maybe an hour early, and we were like the 10th in line for standby.
And it's all official. It's not like, oh, hey, if you're standing in this literal line for hours and hours, once you're in and you get your number, then it's all just a waiting game, because they're going to do it, officially. So get there early and you will officially, have your spot. Yeah,
and it was surprisingly a long wait. Like, we got there at noon. The thing was, they were checking in at 1. And we probably didn't start the show until like 2:30 or 3 or something like that. So it was like a couple hours wait just to start the show. It was kind of crazy. I don't know why it took that long. But the one thing that is a little different from what you probably will experience when you go to the show is we actually didn't have Ellen as the host. She was not hosting for whatever reason. So we had a guest host. They did tell us this before we got there. So it's not like they sprung it on us. Like, that's not a worry that you're like, oh no, is Ellen not going to be there? They do tell you that.
In the email or the day of?
In the email. Oh. Yeah. So you do know that, and you can kind of choose to forego your tickets if you want, but they do say, hey, because she didn't host, you will get an email from us eventually saying, hey, here's some guaranteed tickets to a future time where she is hosting. So you do get guaranteed tickets from this, and I think even when you go through standby tickets and you do get into the show, you still get guaranteed tickets for a future show anyway. So I knew that we were going to get guaranteed tickets no matter what.
Might as well go twice, you're saying, right?
Right, exactly. So if you get standby tickets, that's fine. You're going to get some more tickets in the end. So essentially, yeah, you just wait around for a while and then eventually you get in. We didn't know who the guest host was going to be. You don't know that. You don't know who the guests are or the host is going to be if it is a guest host until you actually get into the studio. The studio is bigger than I thought it would be. Usually those are pretty small, but her studio is actually pretty big. So we sat in the far, like, the furthest corner that possible, right by Twitch, if people watch the show know that. So you can actually see us in our episode quite a few times.
We'll post some pictures on the website, too. Yeah, you can see us kind of dancing by Twitch.
Right.
And Justin Bieber.
Very awkwardly being
right.
Right.
Me being the one literally closest and the one, probably of all 500 people in that studio, the one who didn't know how to dance the least. Obviously, right. I go for it. I've got the energy.
Yeah, you got it.
I don't.
But yeah, we're like,
moves.
we're not the ones to be on camera. And they do make you dance a lot.
Right.
A lot. That was a little.
If you like dancing, you'll love it. If you don't, you are gonna feel on the spot and forced to because they try to make it a competition.
Yeah, and any break that there is in the filming, they always make you dance, and I'm just like, ugh. But luckily, I mean, there's no one that's like gonna be like, dance, you idiot. Like, like if you really don't want to dance, no one's gonna make you. But it's just a lot of standing up and dancing. And anyway, so the host that we had was Demi Lovato. Which is kind of cool, like, the thing is, the show that we saw, I was pretty underwhelmed with the guests, because we had Justin Bieber, and I'm like, don't care about him, care about...
they went fucking crazy.
Oh, people loved him.
We were, like we said, we were in the back row side, but we had a bunch of teenager college girls right in front of us, and oh my god, were they desperately trying to get his attention.
Oh yeah.
Especially because he walked over and started playing the drums, like
right
literally
right.
I could have high-fived him had I cared to. But my god, these girls were
like trying to, and
nuts.
I was like, you can
that was beautiful, Justin. That was beautiful.
Well, and I was like, girl, I was like, do you want to switch seats with us? We're like right next to him. And she's like, no, it's fine. Like, are you sure? Because you're like screaming over top of me. Yeah.
I love your wife, Justin.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it.
So it was interesting to kind of, I mean, it could have been anybody. It was interesting to see A-list musician,
it was cool to see
everybody go, nuts for him.
I just was like, man, I love music, obviously, but I've never been a person to obsess or anything about any musician or band. Like, that's just not anything that I do. So I was like, okay, cool. And there was a singer that came and performed. I don't even remember her name. I had never heard of her. I know it featured Future, and I'm like, okay, I know Future. But that's it. The one guest that I did know, and it was a surprise guest, was Megan Mullally, who is from Will and Grace, Parks and Rec, all that stuff. So that was cool to see, because we were like, oh, yay! Someone we actually really love and admire. So, but it was a cool experience still, like seeing how everything worked, and we did win tickets to Justin Bieber's show on May 29th at the Rose Bowl, if it happens. You do get the option to, we also won the CD of that girl that sang. You have the option at the end to either forego it or get it. We foregoed the CD, but we did say, give us the tickets, because, we're probably not going to go, but
so that's just a cool
we're going to just sell them.
Right?
If it still goes on, we're going to sell them.
So if you go to the show and somebody happens to be there that's promoting something, you'll probably get some cool bonus stuff. Obviously, Ellen loves giving shit away, and so you never know with a big prize, but at the very least, if there's a musician or an actor that's promoting a movie, you'll probably get tickets to go see it and that kind of stuff. So you'll probably get something out of it.
She always gives at least one thing away to the audience. Nice. So yeah, it's a cool experience. Obviously, we didn't have the full experience with her there. We will eventually. We obviously haven't gotten an email about the guaranteed tickets, because then everything started happening. So hopefully we will after things start to open up again. But we'll keep you updated if once we go to the show, and if it's anything different, we'll let you know what that is. And we also want to go to other talk shows as well, so we'll kind of compare and contrast the different experiences at each talk show.
I'm still trying to get Jessica to take me to Regis and Kelly. I know it doesn't exist anymore, but I want to go.
You don't want to see Ryan and Kelly or whatever.
Is that what it is now?
Yeah, I think it's Ryan Seacrest and Kelly Ripa. It's changed so many times, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Andrew, nice to meet you. Yeah.
Good Kelly Ripa. All right, so this is the portion where we do an improv scene. Obviously, haven't been doing much lately, but we decided to do an improv scene. Are we doing a question, or?
Maybe I can give you a word, and you can give me a word, and we'll both think of a story, whichever one's more interesting.
Okay.
I'll say storm.
Okay, and I'll say trinket.
Okay, I've got a story for... Trinket makes me think of, and I've told Jessica this story before, but back when I was a younger lad, keychain wallets were the biggest fucking thing in the world, and still maybe are, but I had Jinko jeans, and I did not have a keychain wallet, and I fucking wanted one, and so... We were at the mall. My grandpa was visiting from Florida, and it was near Christmas. It was maybe like a few days before, and school had just gotten out, and we were at the mall, and I saw this keychain wallet, and I was just losing my mind over it, telling my grandpa, you gotta buy it, you gotta get it. And he's like, oh no, only Santa does that. And then he told my brother, hey, take Andrew and go over there and go do something real quick. And, me being a smart person, smart boy, I was like, okay, he's probably buying that wallet. And so later on that night, my grandpa was trying to go to bed, and I just wanted that fucking keychain wallet, and I knew that mother effer had it. And so I would not let him go to bed until he gave it to me. He's like, I didn't get it. And he's trying to lay in his bed, but I would lay in his bed and take his pillow and just would be jumping around. And my parents would make me leave the room, and I would sneak back in there and take his pillow and try desperately just like, oh, come on, give me that. And he finally gave in and gave me that keychain wallet, and I slept with it later that night. God. And he gave me $10, I think, to put inside of it. And so... and it had flames on it. It had, these big silver, buttons or whatever to keep it clasped. So I had that, and I bothered my grandfather, and I got that fucking keychain wallet, and it was and I never lost it. I mean, threw it away eventually.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never seen this wallet.
No, eventually, just got too worn down, and I upgraded.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Well, with Storm, I think I was 12. It was the day before Valentine's Day, and there was just like the worst storm I have ever seen happen. Like it was a big, big blizzard. Like
you were in the middle of the Pacific, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was a huge blizzard that happened, and it was so bad and it started right before the workday ended. So because it was so bad, there were so many people who couldn't leave work and were there for almost the entire night because they couldn't drive. They couldn't do anything.
Oh no, I hadn't even thought about that. Getting fucking stuck at work. Yeah.
Yeah, like my brother worked at a credit union. He had to stay there. My best friend's mom worked at Fantastic Sam's, and it's funny because her dad had come to visit her or something, and then that happened, and so they both were stuck there. So her parents are just stuck and couldn't come home, so she had to sleep over at my house, and it was a school day, so that was exciting. And
you guys had to go to school?
Well, here's the thing: is that the next day, it was
all a hoax, a government hoax.
The next day, it was crazy. It was. I'm pretty sure there's a picture out there somewhere that my mom took of me standing next to a huge pile of snow. And obviously, I mean, as a 12-year-old, I'm not that tall, but it was just massive. And it was way taller than me. So the thing is about Utah and other states that have snow all the time is that I've never had a snow day. Never. Because even on days like that where it's so bad that you can barely go anywhere, they still have school because they say, well, it's optional. You can come to school. Teachers have to go to school and be there as if it's supposed to keep going, but you have the option to go or not. So that's the closest thing that I've ever had to a snow day. I didn't go because I'm like, why would I go? Who cares? But my sister went because it was Valentine's Day, and she was like, no, I want to, hand out Valentines to my classmate. She was like in 5th grade or whatever.
I'll say that's the fucking most
It
fun,
is, but my mom was so mad. She's like, you're gonna make, because the buses weren't running either, so it was basically you could either have your parents bring
get your kids there or not.
Yeah,
right?
And so my mom
that
had to take
the
her, and she was so mad. Right? Teachers get screwed all the time. It is not okay. So anyway, but that was the closest thing I've ever had to a snow day.
Jessica, listen, I know you're asking old Grandpa, for the special Christmas gift, but I can't go outside. It's just such a bad blizzard. I won't be able to make you a snowman this year. I'm so sorry.
Grandpa?
Yes?
You need to make me a snowman.
Oh, please, Jessica.
It's right there. You have snow. You have hands. Okay? You know what a snowman looks like. I don't need to tell you what it looks like. Go and make one.
Jessica, Grandpa's so old. It's so cold outside.
How old are you? How old are you?
Grandpa's 82
Okay,
years old.
I've met other people older than that.
Jessica, I love you, and I would give you
I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore if you do, honestly.
Goodness. I can see. You can see outside the window. It's just 4 feet high, and it's just howling, and you can just see frozen animals and things outside. It's never been worse. Oh, Jessica, it's dangerous. They said we shouldn't go outside.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. You're gonna do what the government tells you to do, Grandpa? Are you kidding
I'm
me?
a libertarian, and you're pulling at my heartstrings.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And look at all the material you have out there. I mean, come on. We have not had this much snow in years, Grandpa. I've only been able to make really teeny tiny things of snowmen. You gotta make a huge snowman.
What if we just make one inside? I'll get some cotton swabs.
Wait, okay, I'll bring some snow inside. Would you like that, Grandpa?
Oh,
bring
Jessica.
it inside, let it melt on your nice carpet.
What if we do something else? We can build, we can make a toy out of some wood. Grandpa can show you how to put it together.
No, I don't want. Listen, I need
come sit on Grandpa's lap.
Okay.
What's going on?
I need the snowman because, as you know,
You miss
no,
your dad.
Your son, my dad,
right,
left me. Okay?
Yeah. That's why Grandpa had to take care of you.
I know. And the only thing that could bring him back is making a snowman. I watched Jack Frost. And...
the Michael Keaton
yes,
vehicle?
I did.
Oh.
And that's the only way that I can get my dad to come back, Grandpa.
Oh, Jessica.
And it's your fault if he doesn't come back.
Oh, my goodness. I had no idea that it was affecting you so deeply. Well, I guess if it really means that much to you, Grandpa will try his best to make a snowman.
Okay, thanks, Grandpa.
I thought maybe you'd stop Grandpa when he finally said he'd do it. You want me to go through
I'm going to go sit in my room where it's warm. I'll watch you from my window.
Oh, all right. We see Grandpa begrudgingly putting out things. Grandpa gets very cold very fast. So
okay, wear another coat.
Oh, that's a great idea. My hands with my arthritis, I might not be able to build it.
Here, I'll button your coat for you.
Oh, thank you so much, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Oh, well, and these old socks of mine, they're so wet from coming in earlier.
Cut to the next morning. He went outside, but because it was so cold, the snowman formed around him. Oh, when we went outside, I just fell asleep in my warm bed. Okay. Oh my God, he made a snowman for me. Look how great he is. Oh, I gotta thank Grandpa. Where is he? Grandpa? Grandpa? Where are you?
I love you, Jessica.
Dad?
This car pulls up. Her father gets out. I just felt like a snowman had been built, and I regretted everything that's happened, Jessica.
Oh my God.
I'm so sorry I left you.
Oh, Dad, let's go home.
They hug each other, and I guess I'll live here now. By the way, where's Grandpa? And see.
Aw, elder abuse. Alright, so thank you so much for listening. Check out our social media accounts on Facebook at Moving to LA Podcast, Instagram by the same name, and Twitter at Moving to LA Pod, as well as our personal accounts. Andrew?
At Andrew Sprague and at A Sprague, Instagram and Twitter, respectively.
I am at Jessica Sprague on Instagram and at Jessica_Sprague on Twitter. And please subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/MTLA. You'll be able to see all the tiers of what benefits you'll get, but that would be great to support us, especially during this crazy time. So every week we're going to just give you a shout out if you're in the tier that says that we're going to give you a shout out. So the one Patreon we have is Kathy French. She's my aunt. She's great. And we're gonna say something nice about her. So Kathy went and she plowed every single driveway in her neighborhood. And that was just really nice of her because it was so stormy the other day. And she's a plastic surgeon. She has to go to work, and she was like, no, people don't need boobs right now. People need to leave their house and go on a walk. So thank you very much, Kathy. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. If you make a review, either on there or our Facebook, we will read it on here.
All the ones, right?
Right,
Stitcher.
exactly. Anywhere that you can rate and review, do that, and we will read it. And if you have suggestions, questions, or comments, please let us know, and we will do our best to address those. Thank you for listening. We will see you next week. And to sign off, if you can make it here, you've made it here.